I think it's really going to change the way clients experience us.
Just from an aesthetic point of view, right? You almost feel like you've jumped into the 21st century, right?
I do think the project has been transformational. I think it's the first time that we've brought together absolutely everything about how a client interacts with us into one place.
The Client Service Centre is our front line, so we are communicating the Allan Gray brand, and if you don't have a system that allows you to communicate that brand, you can quite look embarrassed sometimes.
And for various reasons, including our current CRM application being quite old tech and difficult to develop in, quite clunky, we've decided to replace it.
So, I mean, the final product that we've delivered here is a single desktop that allows consultants to fulfill every single function and action that they need to take to fully service a client. And so, historically, consultants would have used between 10 to 15 systems in a single interaction, and now we've put all of those together in a single desktop. And so it allows consultants to handle voice, emails, chat, co-browse, and walk-in in this single space.
And so what the implications of training is that actually you don't have to train people on 5 multiple systems that they need to work on. So you just need to learn this one, right? And if you learn this one, you'll be able to meet all the service requirements that you do need on a client, right?
In the ever-changing digital world, it's very important to be able to offer web chat to our clients, to be able to send them real-time SMSs, to be able to do co-browse with them.
New functionalities like sphere of influence, the new outbound auth process, consolidated history, which is basically like scrolling through your Facebook history, the timeline, it's as easy as that.
And we really felt that Anana really understood the Genesys solution. But not only that, but also could bring best practice from a CX perspective and could bring knowledge that was over and above the solution itself.
Which is what WDA really does, right? So it unclunks those 3 systems and says, look, let's handle all the interactions with the clients on a separate spectrum.
Consultant is able to focus a lot more on servicing and listening to that client and what their underlying needs are.
I guess that would lead to greater client service and also even just employee wellness, I would say, because we tend to get very frustrated with our old system. It freezes, it's old and it's clunky. It's sometimes very difficult to navigate and get certain information that you can consolidate into one, for example, email, then you've got to send multiple emails out. The nice thing about WD is you can actually join all of those together and send it out straight away, so you're avoiding unnecessary processes, which we're going to be very happy about, absolutely.
And to say, look, they're on a journey while they're servicing the client in this conversation, and we need to make sure that at every particular point they have the information that they need to service the client. So there's no point at which they're wondering, where do I go now?
I think that's sort of the big thing about WD, is that things are where you would expect them to be and you're unsurprised. Like, oh, what does that button do that?
We've brought more of our online interactions that clients have with us into the system. So when a consultant looks at what a client has been doing, they got a lot more context in terms of, what have they been doing in the last day, the last hour or so, whether that be through traditional, methods of communication or whether that's been online. And I think that it just makes the process a lot easier, that you don't have to ask those questions which you already know.
So the reason we chose Anana to implement Genesys for us was, as part of our research around choosing Genesys, was also, well, who's the best person to partner with.
We spent a lot of time with the Anana team, sort of defining requirements. We had the Anana team come to our offices, and we spent a good 2 weeks doing requirements gathering workshops.
We built a whole bunch of mock-ups that presented how we wanted the solution to look, and we present that to the Anana team and the developers, and they'd go away and build. And often they'd come back and things didn't look exactly the way that we designed them, but they looked better. And so it was really a team effort where we optimized and the solution evolved as we went along.
If you ask for something, anything's possible. It's like, even if you think it's completely blue sky, we're able to build it and render a fantastic sort of modules within our client servicing center. And a great example of that is what we call our sphere of influence.
When the documents come through and they're captured correctly at initial phase, that gets linked in what's called the sphere of influence on WDE. And if we navigate into that, we can put in any account number that is in question or client number, and it will pull up everyone that is actually linked or has authority to be able to request information on that client. So that, from a point of not having to navigate into a whole lot of different cases and ask them for reference numbers which they don't know about anymore, makes servicing to an advisor or assistant or executor a lot easier.
I think it will help seeing a green board at the end of the day, because it would mean that it makes the interaction with the client easy. Instead of focusing on the system, you're focusing on the client. You're actively listening to what the client is saying.
Anana has built sort of their own kind of solutions that support the Genesys solution. So something like mission control was so important to us, because it meant that we could manage our solution and the client experience it delivers without having to speak to IT, which was a lot of fun for us.
Working with Anana has been absolutely fantastic. I believe that the company ethos is very similar to ours. They've got very intelligent people in their department, and they've understood all of our requirements, and it's just been phenomenal.
It seems like we've picked the right problems to fix, which is comforting. We felt like we made some big calls, and it looks like it would pay off.
I mean, if you can Facebook, you can WDE.